Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those government people that make laws, regulations, and ordinances that affect you out there.
That's right. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Oxford Township, or Addison Township, these are the people you elected. And the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you chose to go to that meeting or not. So don't be surprised when you get your next tax bill.
Yeah, as he's trying to imply here that if you don't attend, strange things happen, and
we could have had some input into.
Right. Well, I call it humor because that's what comes back and gets you, right? Humor.
Yeah.
Except it's not so funny when you have to go back and say, why do I have these big taxes? You know, but you got to be there. So attend these meetings, very important. The other thing that we do here occasionally, just occasionally, and so you have to watch the show and kind of pick out what is semi-truths, truths, and non-truths. And if you look at the non-truths, this guy is the biggest.
Go ahead.
Fabricator of non-truths that I know of, so keep an eye on this guy.
Well,
okay.
There's fabricators and prevaricators, and I'll take fabricators any day.
Okay. A name of it by any other name, I don't know what you would call it. But anyway, let's talk about a couple meetings that came up.
Yep.
And very interesting meetings. One was the Oxford Township Board of Trustees meeting. The other one is the Oxford Village DDA meeting. And so let's talk about the DDA meeting because there's something that's going to affect the DDA and the village quite substantially. First of all, let's just say that the DDA board consists of 9 members on that board. Pretty good sized board.
Yeah.
And those people are Sue Bassardit, who is the chairperson for this board, as she is for other boards too within the area. I believe she's
Not to mention the council.
yeah, village council and also Communications Commission, and I think that's pretty much it. She serves on other boards.
I see.
So a very active lady. And she runs a pretty good board meeting here. And so Sue Bassardit, she would be the chair. Sam Barna, who's with the school system, pretty sharp guy. Rod Charles, everybody knows Rod Charles, the Lone Ranger, and other promotional things within the township and the village.
Not to mention our announcer for swim meets.
Yes, and he does a great job for swim meets.
Absolutely.
Yep. You folks can catch this, by the way, on OCCTV.org if you want to watch it out there, or on Charter 191. Right?
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube. You could do that. And if you have AT&T, it's channel 91. But you can catch these sports and all the meetings out there. So I'm just, as a reminder, right now we tell you up front that you can check out the Totalian.
The what?
That chameleon progressive thing that's going on with all these meetings and so forth.
Okay, you can keep up with the news and views.
Right. That's it. Dorothy Johnston is on that board, and business person downtown. Gino Malaya is on that board. Malia, are you sure?
Yep.
Are you positive?
I've made that mistake once or twice.
All right, you heard it here first. See what I mean? Okay. Gino, no offense. Okay. Does a great job too, by the way. Pretty knowledgeable guy. Like working with Gino and these other people. Pete Schultz, of course, the fire chief. Susan Schur, who serves on this board as well, and
cast
serves
of
actually.
thousands.
Yeah, she
or
serves.
Cast of 9.
Yeah. Susan actually takes care of the secretarial portion of it, you know, and when votes are made and so forth, and keeps a record of it and provides the minutes. Regina Woodson, who's owns the AAA insurance business downtown. So, and she's the treasurer of this board, and of course, yours truly. I'm on that board as well.
They let you on?
Yeah, well, they didn't let me. The trustee board said, you will be on this board. And I said, yes, I will. So that's how it happened.
Yes, sir.
So representing the township. These people, and some of these people are involved also with the M24 program that they're going to have to tear up the streets. And
2019?
In 2019. And also streetscape involvement. And,
which will tie right into that whole process.
Right,
too.
Absolutely. So let's get on with it. They had the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they asked for public, non-agenda items from the public. Nobody wants to speak.
Burning issues there.
Right. And the new business they want to cover is the DDA Executive Director. As you know, Joe Frost, who did a good job, with the village, and still lives in the village and is active, with the M24 special meeting or
Oh, yeah.
special group that's working, with the streetscape and so forth. He's still very active. So, anyway, so the people that they interviewed was Dana Walker, and she's from Imlay City, and a DDA director there, and spent some time discussing her background and so forth. And then the next person that came up was Matt Jennings, and he's with the DDA board in Ortonville. He's the newest to the DDA of any board, but he has served on a capacity of volunteerism for the DDA organizations in the past. But he's only been on this job for about a year. He's transferring or looking for a different job. So, and also Dana Walker was with the DDA for 2 years roughly, and she was a chamber director, for Imlay City at that time. The third person that they interviewed is Sherry.
Laflamme?
No.
We didn't get our middle name.
Skoldronsky.
But our middle name is Laflamme.
Is it Laflamme? Yeah, that's easier to say.
Then the last name.
Skoldronsky is her name.
Okay.
I can't wait for this one to come. Okay. Anyway, she said, it's not my last name is an easy one, but you'll get used to it. So, very nice lady. She brings with her quite a resume, as a matter of fact. She lives in North Carolina, and she's involved with a town there called Chapel Hill, which most people, I think, have heard of it. And they've done a remarkable job of renovation with streetscape and so forth, and taking care of architectural, historical buildings.
I hear she was impressed with the architectural and the historic look of our town.
She was. She said the first time I came through Oxford, I looked at it and she said, wow. She said, this is amazing. It looks so original. A lot of the glass is the
Could
same.
be a movie set.
Yeah. The glass is pretty much original, a lot of these buildings and so forth. And she said, really impressed with what we have here, or what you have here. And she said, I would love to be part of it,
There you
in
go.
the future. So anyway, she brings a very interesting resume with her. She's an author of some historical type literature, books, that kind of thing. She's dealt with the economic development in her previous job. She's done, as I said, streetscape, which is something that we're dealing with now. Being they're going to do M24, MDOT is, it's a good time for them to look at streetscape and be able to do something with it. The subcommittees that I've been on have pretty much approved the company that did the architectural layout and so forth, the original plan, which, if you recall, that original plan was like $4.7 million. But this special committee, task force that's working, have scaled it down to 1.2 million and come up with means to also finance it as well. So with that, we'll tell you more when we come back right after this.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child swallowed household cleaner, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first to speak with medical professionals who can give you free personal advice anytime. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the DDA meeting that they had the other evening. And we're talking about Sherry Skoldronsky.
Nice try.
Okay. And she's from North Carolina. And she, by the way, she has a master's degree from the University of Tennessee.
In?
Yes.
Okay.
I think part of it is architectural design, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So anyway, we'll say it is. That would be a rumor, right? Okay. Okay. So
And you
anyway,
said I start rumors.
yeah, right. One thing that really came forward with the interview is the fact she's very enthusiastic, and she has a passion for this type of work, and has a pretty good vision as to how things, might develop, and putting together subcommittees and so forth. So very interesting.
I take it she won't commute.
No, she won't commute. And she did point out that she and her husband and their son will be moving here. The husband wants to change careers,
Oh.
so the timing is good. And she said that they're very actively seeking a home in Oxford Township.
Very
So
good.
They will be here. But there's going to be a delay. She was approved, by the way, unanimously by the board to put out a petition for her to, become the next executive director of the DDA.
I understand Sue Basardi is going to be negotiating contracts.
She will be negotiating the contract, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be reviewed then with the attorney to make sure
Sure.
everything's okay, which I suspect it will be, because it's, it's been done before just recently with Jill Frost. So the money thing needs to be worked out yet, and, the benefits and so forth, for this individual. She will be a welcome addition, I think, to the village here, should she agree to take the job. But she did point out that she has some loose ends to fill, in Chapel Hill.
That's understandable.
Yep, before she leaves. And she said it'll take about a month or 2 months to resolve those issues, at which time she said that she would be free to, take a position. So,
But in the meantime, who handles the administration?
in the meantime, the chairperson, Sue Basard, is pretty much leading the charge on that.
Okay.
And taking care of what she can, in the meantime. And the other non-meantime, she's stacking everything up for the new executive director. And when she walks in the door, she's going to say, "Surprise!"
FYI, FYI,
Right.
FYI.
Right. The company that's working with the streetscape, by the way, is Grissom Metz company. And actually, Susan Grissom is the one that's doing the presentation. Actually, the architectural changes. And that company also would be working with getting grants, like the TAP grant, that kind of thing. And they're quite proficient at it. And the point was made that she feels that we can pretty much pay for the whole streetscape, or very close to it, the 1.2. But they're asking roughly $400,000 to be put as far as escrow, or at least have available as proof, to go forward
Good
with
faith.
it. It is good faith money. And she said also that she would require roughly about $31,000 approval, to get going with the grant process and so forth. So that was approved by the DDA board, by the way. And everybody understands that the total is going to be 1.2 million, roughly. They understand the $400,000 requirement, and so they're going to start moving with the grant application. So they got a year in order to get that in, but it looks like, that's the timing that we need to have. And in the meantime, the DDA will be able to accumulate additional funding for support of the businesses, you business people down there, when this street is beat up and they start tearing it up. Want to make sure that you have customers routed in your direction. Now, the rumor has it that they're going to take all of M24 traffic and they're going to route it right by your businesses in the back. They're going to have stop points at every business.
And don't worry about rush hour. They'll
No.
never get through.
I'll never get through. They have a great opportunity for marketing, at that point. But anyway, if that happens or not, we'll have to wait and see.
You can do some walk-up vending to the traffic.
Right? You could do that, yes. Okay, now there is a rumor that,
Oh.
there is a rumor that Orion Township has asked for a delay, in the main street repair because of another road that's going to be worked on.
What's that?
Baldwin Road is going to be worked
How
on.
would that affect us?
But it doesn't. It affects Lake Orion. But the timing, in a way, does, because if they put a postponement on it, MDOT's going to look at it and say, well, look, Oxford is ready to go with this. You need to be ready to go too. Or they're going to say, we're going to put a hold on Oxford since we're going to put a hold on you.
And I think,
so they can go
and
either way.
I think sometimes when they have projects that are close by, I think they do some equipment sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more likely they're going to. Everybody was all shook up with M24 was changed, on the south side.
I think that's
highway.
good. Wait till those 5 roundabouts go in on Baldwin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wait till people that aren't familiar with roundabouts, this ought to be fun. We should be down there with a camera, when they first open it up. It'd be like
Well.
Demolition Derby.
Well, I know the first time that a lot of people see a roundabout, they come to a stop, and they're not supposed to. But
Right. And
they eventually figure it
now
out.
in Massachusetts, it's pretty common, you know, when I was out there, when I was in the military, the roundabouts were common all over. And the problem we had is sometimes people with a little bit of dementia, they got stuck in the middle and they kept going around and around. So it was a problem.
Well, as long as it's clockwise, it's okay. Or is it it's counterclockwise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's counterclockwise.
Right, right.
Yeah, you almost blew that one, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and you almost agreed.
No, I didn't. I would not have agreed to that one. Okay. I can see myself going around those things even in my sleep when I was out there in Massachusetts. But anyway, they're supposed to be a safety catch, I think, for, you know, as opposed to stoplights, that kind of thing. It's hard to run a roundabout. Isn't it? Just like a rat on a turntable.
Try crossing one.
Yeah, right across one. Oh, it's tricky. You folks, you know, watch out for the avid individual that knows how to do this. Because
Under very special circumstances, I've seen roundabouts with lights.
I have seen that too.
Yeah.
I think in Boston they have one like that.
I think down in Southfield too.
Okay. Anyway, we've discussed that.
Or yeah, okay.
Okay. Let me see. They also want to purchase 2 computers. One a laptop and one a desktop. And there's a question concerning how much RAM or memory should be there, and also how much disk storage should be available, you know, on these units. So there was a discussion on that, and I think they pretty much approved to go forward with what they had. The gentleman who represented the company said that, and it's multi-tech, and they also deal with the fire department and I think some other government entities within the area. Said that they're using SSDs because of their reliability and because they're roughly about 10 times faster than a mechanical drive would be.
That's true, but they're not usually really large.
No, they're not. And like in this case, 250 gigabyte of storage, which we feel is rather small.
Yeah.
But they are using a major server, which is connected to the administrative office. They're running both Ethernet and without getting a lot of technical stuff.
Well, you can plug flash drives and auxiliary hard drives into these things too.
Right. Now the only issue here, serious issue, was that they want to stick with Windows 7, and we did recommend they go to Windows 10.
Going SSD with Windows 7.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah, well.
But okay, and Windows 10 it would be a much more efficient and better way to take this route,
And
that was
perpetually
pointed out.
updated.
Yes, perpetually updated. So anyway, so they agreed to do that, and it's going to be Windows 10. The amount approved was $1,200, and that pretty much took care of the DDA meeting.
And there you go.
And we'll tell you more when we come back about the Oxford Township Board of Trustees.
Yeah.
Some heat in there.
Yeah, watch that curveball now. The pitcher's way ahead. And let him
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we just got through talking about the DDA meeting in the village.
Downtown Development Authority.
Now we're going to talk about the Oxford Township Board of Trustees.
One of your favorites.
One of my favorites. It's got to be. Okay. William Dunn, who's the supervisor of the township, he serves on that board as the chair. Joe Ferrari, the treasurer of the township. Curtis Wright, who's the clerk. And Jack Curtis is a trustee. Marjorie Payne serves as a trustee as well. And Patty Durr, and me. Right. Now, in this particular meeting, Patty Durr was absent, so it was her approved absence was given. By the way, the recording secretary is Kelly, does that.
Okay.
And she does a great job of that, too.
Kelly Richter.
Kelly Richter, yeah. So anyway, let's get on with it. They had preliminaries, the pledge and so forth. And then they asked for public comment. And Ron Davis, the director of Parks and Recreation, he stood up and he kind of recapped what was going to happen starting this spring at various parks throughout the area, Stony Lake and Oakwood and so forth. And as you know, monies were made available through the last election. I think it was $1 million, something along that line. So there's going to be some extensive changes, you know, for you folks out on these areas. Apollo Lake is the other one, and ranging all the way from gazebo to, you know, sidewalk changes, boat ramps, and all kinds of neat things that are going to happen. By the way, a lot of these parks haven't been updated for years and years and years, since Moses, or since you've been around.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's a good change. You folks will see some real benefit. Public hearing then came up, and the public hearing involved the SAD. Now, you know what SAD is?
I used to, but it used to be called the, as I remember,
As I remember when I was young.
they called it a special assessment district.
They did, and they still do.
Oh, well then. You're as old
Yippee-ki-yay.
as I am.
Then you have to remember. It's right there. Okay. So anyway, that's what it is, special assessment district. And usually the way a special assessment district is started or began is a petition is taken up by the residency. In this case, it concerns lakes, and 3 lakes, Cedar Lake, Long Lake, and Tan Lake.
Right.
And why would they want to have an SAD? Because they have weeds.
They have weeds.
And it's hard to, you know, paddle the boat, you know, through the weeds. So they want to.
Unfortunately, I think what happens is those weeds get fertilized
They do. And if you do just a
by
cut.
runoff from their lawns.
Yeah, they do. And if you do just a cut, it becomes even more fertilized.
Oh, well.
So, and they spring up. So anyway, so it takes a special engineering scientific approach to handle these lakes and cleaning them up. But first of all, a petition has to be taken, and you have to have over 51% of the residents that are willing to do this. And in this case, they had 54% of the signatures of the people that live on the lakefront all the way around each of the lakes. So that then starts in motion the township's direction, you know, to have this thing go forward. They had some complaints from the public that some people weren't contacted, and they felt upset over that. And others just said that they wouldn't like to see the lake cleaned. It's fine the way it is.
Well, who's responsible for contacting them? The association of these people themselves or the township?
Actually, any individual that lives on the lake that wants to see this change made can get a petition from the township and go door to door and talk to the people and get the signatures. And once that happens, then they met the criteria, you know, to move this forward and have public discussion over
Now,
it.
are these people that live on the lake or people that have access to it?
Well, that question came up because one gentleman said, well, we're on the
already
lake,
asked
but we have people behind us. Are they going
Right.
to pay for it? And the answer was no.
Oh,
You know, on lakefront, people will be paying for it.
even though they may
But-
have access to the lake.
Right.
Okay.
But you know, this is only information to these folks. I mean, it's not the township's responsibility to control the SAD or tell the people what they need to do or not do. on the
In
lake.
reality, they could have hired a firm to do this job themselves.
They could have, but it would have cost a lot more money. Let me give you an example. For example, I know of a association that has lakes, a couple of lakes, who could have gone SAD, which would have cost them probably $100, you know, per year, and instead chose to raise the dues on everybody in the association that live in the association group and doubled it. It went from
Okay.
$200 to $400.
Okay.
So that would be an expensive thing for all the other residents who don't live on the lake. Of course, the comment is, well, they all use the lake. Well, they don't all use the lake, but the lake is there in front of, you know, it's your back door or your front door if you're living on the lake. So, and you got to look at property values too. For you folks that live on the lake, your property values are a lot higher than those set back. And there's a reason for that, of course.
You live on a lake.
You live on a lake. Right. You live on a lake. Yeah. You know that stuff in front of your house? That is water. And the problem is when the water gets full of weeds where you can't see the lake, that de-evaluates your property. In other words, you're losing money, in your land and in your building, to sell. If you were to resell, and somebody comes in, they say, "Hey, this is a nice lake, but you got more weeds than you do lake."
Accessibility and the prettiness factor go down.
They do. Yep. And your certainly resale value is compromised. So, just give you an idea of some of the people who were in on this meeting. Brad Jacobson was there, and I don't know if you recall, but he was the 46th District House of Representatives seat, for this area, and did a great job, with the state of Michigan. He now is on the Liquor Commission, I understand. So anyway, so he's just been recently appointed to that. But he lives in this area, and he lives on the lake, so he wanted to, have concerns about Phragmites or Phragmites. I want to know if it was going to cover that. And actually, those are technical questions that really the township cannot answer. It's done by the scientific people that are going to do the project, or the engineers.
Phragmites are more in swampy areas rather than lakes, aren't they?
Well, they can be anywheres.
Yeah.
They're just, you can't get rid of them.
Otherwise known as pampas grass.
They're kind of like bad relatives. You can't get rid of them. They just keep coming back.
People used to be called, wasn't it used to be called pampas grass?
Could be. Take a note.
I did.
Okay. You did, huh? Okay. John Knoll was there, and he wanted to know what kind of weeds it's going to kill and so forth. Bob Blatz was there, also a resident on the lake. He said that each property owner each property owner going to be charged equal? And the answer to that was yes. And regardless of the footage you have, if you're on the front, they're going to take the total amount and break it by the number of people.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the way it's suggested it be done. Rod Charles was there. Everybody knows Rod Charles, very active, within the community. And Rod said that the lake definitely needs to be cleaned up. He said he takes care of his own property in the front, though. So he said he didn't have as big an issue with that. But you can see where the rest of the lake needs to be cleaned as well. Bill Dunn then made a suggestion that they have a town meeting with all the people around the lake, have them get together with the scientific and engineering people, and they can send all the questions to those people and get them answered. But as far as he was concerned, we would have to move forward with this because they've met the requirements of the
Although
ordinance.
it seems the process is, since this has been repeated and repeated through many, many lakes in Michigan, that whole process should be pretty well documented.
Yep, it is. And it's been done before. Yep. So anyway, what's coming up?
Well, we do have meetings. On March 14th at 6 p.m., the Addison Township Planning Commission is meeting, and at 6:30 that same day, the Village of Oxford Council. And at 6:30 that same day, the Oxford Board of Education is meeting at Oxford High School. And on 3:15 at 3 p.m., the Pollyann Trail Management Council is meeting at the Friendship Park over in Orion Township, off of Baldwin Road, I believe. Baldwin and Clarkson, Orion.
Yeah.
Not Clarkson. Yeah, Clarkson, Orion. On 3:16 at 4:30, North Oakland Transportation Authority, also known as NOTA, will be meeting at the business offices in Lake Orion. And on 3:20 at 6 o'clock, the Addison Township Board of Trustees, and at the same time, Village of Oxford Downtown Development Authority.
Well, how about that? I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
We'll catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then.
Suppose now shush, she makes the sound she makes to come.